Welcome to another one of Taff's tutorials. I'm Taff. We're going to take a jump right back to the very basics of using GIMP here today. I've had a few comments on various forums on Facebook that YouTubers assume certain knowledge. So what we're going to try and do here is jump right back into the very basics, assume that you've never used anything like this, and do forgive me if I don't manage this as well as I hope, but if I leave anything that you want to know, anything that you don't understand, feel free to let me know in the comments, send me a message, and I'll endeavour to get back to you, or create another video to help you through what you need to know. So you've installed GIMP and loaded it up, and this is your opening screen. Most people want to manipulate an image. After all, that is what GIMP actually stands for, GNU, Image Manipulation Program. So you can either go to File, Open, and here ITR is basically all the folders on your computer associated with your user. So we'll go to ITR here. We'll go to Documents there, and as you can see, I have a couple of images set up ready for this. I've got 001 Tutorial Basics. Now, we can open it that way, or alternatively, if I open up the Documents screen here, bear with me a moment, there we go. What we can do is literally drag and drop into GIMP. There we go. So Control, Shift, and J makes the puts the screen, the canvas that you see, in size with your image. So if we hold Control and zoom in on the mouse wheel, we've zoomed right in. Control, Shift, and J, we've got the full image again. Now, to add another image as a layer, we can simply go to File, Open as Layers, and we can open another one of the layers of the images here, like so. Or if we just Control and Z to undo, Control and Z is always undo the last action. If we go back to Documents, we can drag and drop onto the image. However, what we're going to do at the moment is we'll get rid of that with Control and Z again, because what we'll do is we'll go Open, and this will open as a new tab at the top. So that's already selected. If we click Open, as you can see, it's opened up full size again, so you can't really see the whole image. To see the whole image, Control, Shift, and J. Well, I haven't selected it yet. Control, Shift, and J. There we go. We've got the whole image. One of the things that was commented on is there isn't really a cursor. You haven't got a non-selection with GIMP. People tend to use the Move tool, but you don't want to hold down the mouse key while using the Move tool, because it moves your image off the canvas or around about where you don't really want it to be. Now, another way to add a second layer to your initial image, let's say for argument's sake, we've just created this image within GIMP, we've spent a lot of time working on it, and we want the final image as it is there to be dragged across into there. Well, down here you've got your little layers panel. If you want anything else in these panels, you can see there's little icons along the top for the paths tool, the channels tool. There's one up here. This shows what's selected. I've got it set up for my fonts, my brushes. There's a little triangle next to each of these tabs. There's one here, here, and here. If you click on them, You can close the tab that you're on. You can add a new tab where it gives you all the different tabs that you can have. Yes, and it gives you a menu to use from that individual tab. But down here by default you have the layers tab. If you click on the layer down here, as you can see, the image goes to like a little thumbnail. Drag it over to the tab at the top and it switches images. Drag onto the image and let go, and voila, we've got that that's dragged over. Now let's say, for argument's sake, we want to put that on the mobile phone screen underneath. We can go to tools up here, transform tools and scale, or we can go to this box of tools here. Each of these is a set of tools. So if we hover over this one, these are our transform tools. To choose any one of these, we right click and choose transform tool. Now that changes the transform tool, and the left click is always transform tool, but we want scale at the moment, because what we want to do is click on that and it brings it up, and we click on it to bring it down. Yes, the cursor changes to show where we're bringing it down from or in. The little box up here shows you the pixel height and width. If you want to keep it scaled the same, which we do at the moment, you make sure that that little box is present, because that means that the width and the height are linked. If we click it, you can see it breaks that link between the width and the height, so we can do it like this, and it changes the width and the height independently. But we want to keep that the same at the moment, and we'll scale it down. What we'll do is we'll go back to the scale tool, because there's another thing that I want to show you here. Quite frequently, the scaling that you want is putting on top of an object that you can't see behind it. So if we go to the bottom left to the layers, you've got your mode there, but you've got your opacity here. So we can turn it down and we can see through the layer. We don't want to make it too transparent, because we need to see what's going on with the layer. And then if we click on that, we can actually bring it down to roughly the size of the mobile phone. Then let's move this up. Right then. So we'll press scale there. Now you can always go and rotate it by right click or shift and R, and then we can rotate it to the angle of the mobile phone. Enter. But the tool that I prefer using for doing this sort of thing is right click the unified transform tool. So when I click on that, I can line up each of these corner boxes with the edges of the screen on the device. So sorry, I've gone quiet for a moment. So this is taking a little more concentration than I would like, especially whilst making a little tutorial video. But we're not going to go perfect with it. We'll just hit enter to OK that, and there we go. So those are some of the basic functions. With the selection tools, let's say we select a so this tool here, you've got a rectangle select. If we select that rectangle, you can see the little outline around of black and white dots. This is what we call the marching ants. People generally don't know how to get rid of those when they first start. What you need to do is either you can go to select and select none, or I prefer, because you use this an awful lot, to use this shortcut, Shift, Control and A. So when we come off the menus like that, Shift, Control and A, there goes our selection. And it's the same here. You've got your different selection tools, like you've got a foreground select, which is quite a complex tool, quite a brilliant tool as well, but we'll go into that in another video. We've got the intelligent select, so let's go to our background layer. You can, if you go quite close into the singer there, I'm just going to go control and zoom in on the wheel. When I select my dots, it follows the pixels and tries to make a good enough job of going around the edge. It's not perfect, but sometimes for a lot of things that you do, it is actually ideal. Now, I'm not going to go around the whole lot of this singer. What we'll do is we'll just come down to here and we'll come back up. Now, to make the selection whole, you go back to your first dot, and if you look, it's turned to a little infinity symbol. So click then, and then inside the selection, press Shift, and as you can see, the cursor turns from a little no entry sign to a little plus sign. Click, and there we go. That's our selection. Right then, so the other thing is to crop. Yeah, let's Control Shift and A to get rid of the selection. Control Shift and J to see the whole image. Now to crop, we have a crop tool right here. So you can go here, select that, and there we go. Enter, and it crops the image down to what you've selected. So it's really easy to crop down to what you want. There are lots of different ways of doing this. You can go to your selection. Let's go here and then select. So we can go image, and there's crop to selection. There we go. So there's lots of different ways of doing that. Now, one thing that people might not be used to is that save doesn't save it as an image. It saves it as a project file, which is an XFC file. So if we went to save, it would open up a dialog, and if you see, it's got XCF here, which allows me to save the project file, which will save it as separate layers with my bits and pieces done to it, so we can revisit it at any time. If you wanted this as a JPEG to put somewhere, you'd go File, Export As. Now, at the moment, it's already as a JPEG. You can see up here 001 tutorial basics.jpg. Sometimes you might want to save it as a GIF because GIMP does have certain features that allow small animations and so on. You might want to save it as a PNG file. So if you haven't got background on it and you want to save it to use as some kind of logo, you can save it as a PNG file. Now, what you usually do is you can type PNG there. However, if you click on select file type by extension, this gives you all your file types. So we can go down here and we can save it as a GIF. You can save a particular image as a GIMP brush, so you can load it up in your brushes tool and paint with it. There's a lot of different ways of saving it. So we'll click on JPEG, and there we go. It goes back to JPEG export. And in just a moment, what will happen is this menu will come up and it will give us our settings. I think the default is starts at 90% on the quality. I always turn it up to 100. You can add a comment onto it, advanced options, but we are literally just looking at the basics here. And then just click on export, and there we go. That file has been exported to my documents as a JPEG file. So if I bring up my documents right now, there we go, tutorial basics as a JPEG. As you can see, it's the image that we've just worked on. I think that's really it for today. This should help you get started in GIMP. If you have anything that you want to know, if you have any questions about the videos, if you want to see a video on something else, please let me know in the comments or send me a message. And thank you very much for watching. Have a good day.